I'm a search and rescue officer for the U.S. Forest Service. I have some stories to tell. I wasn't sure where else to post these stories, so I figured I'd share them here. I've been a SAR officer for a few years now, and along the way I've seen some interesting things that I think you guys will be interested in. I have a pretty good track record for finding missing people. Most of the time, they just wander off path or slip down a small cliff. They can't find their way back. The majority of them have heard the old saying, stay where you are, and they don't wander far. But I've had 2 cases where that didn't happen. Both bother me a lot, and I use them as motivation to search even harder on the missing persons case I get called on. The first was a little boy who was just picking berries with his parents. He and his sister were together and they both went missing around the same time. Their parents lost sight of them for a few seconds, and in that time both the kids apparently wandered off. When their parents couldn't find them, they called us, and we came out to search the area. We found the daughter pretty quickly, and when we asked her where her brother was, she told us that he had been taken away by the bear man, she said, and he gave her berries and told her to keep quiet, that he wanted to play with her brother for a while. The last she saw of her brother was riding the shoulders of, open quote, the bear man, and seemed calm. Of course, our first thought was abduction, but we never found a trace of another human being in that area. The little girl also insisted he wasn't a normal man, but he was tall and covered in hair, like a bear, and that he had a, open quote, weird face. We searched that area for weeks, but it was one of the longest calls I'd ever been on. But we never found a single trace of another kid. Another was a young woman who was hiking with her mom and grandpa. According to her, her daughter had climbed up a tree to get a better view of the forest. She'd never come back down. They waited at the base of the tree for hours, calling her name before they called for help. Again, we searched everywhere, and we never found a trace of her. I have no idea where she could have possibly gone, because neither her mother or grandpa saw her come down. A few things I've been out of my search, like a canteen, and they've tried to lead me straight cliffs, not hills, not even rock face, straight, steer cliffs with not handholds. It always baffled, and in those cases we usually find the person on the other side of the cliff or a mile away from where the canteen had led us. I'm sure it's an explanation, but it's sort of strange. One particularly sad case involved the recovery body, a 9-year-old girl who fell down a basement and got plummeted on a death tree, but at the base. It was a complete freak accident, but I'll never forget the sound her mother made when we told her what had happened. She saw the body bag being loaded into the ambulance, and she let out the most haunting, heartbreaking wail I had ever heard. It was like her whole life was crashing down around her, and a part of her died with her daughter. I heard from another SAR officer that she killed herself a few weeks after that had happened. She couldn't live with the loss of her daughter.